Yvonne des, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Hello, I'm Yvonne, and I am a designer and maker from California. My background is in product design, both physical and digital, urban planning, and economics. And I started Otelier in 2020 around the start of COVID. And originally it was a furniture brand for small homes. And so after COVID, I came to Japan to look for furniture makers, but instead fell in love with all the traditional crafts here. But I was also really devastated to know that a lot of these craft families are facing the risk of extinction. So as you can see from the chart, the Japanese crafts have been declining since the 80s, both in terms of output as well as the workforce. And this has to do with mostly because of the aging population and the difficulty of finding successors, but also because of decreasing domestic demand because the products tend to be geared towards lifestyles and tastes of the past. Weak marketing, branding, and digitalization from the makers themselves. The language barrier prevents them from reaching international markets, and then also low margins for the makers themselves. So Otelier's new vision is to reach new audiences and markets for craft makers in Japan through design and strategy. So being the bridge between craft makers and global markets and the younger audience. So what does that mean? I will walk you through one of our first collaborations, and this is with Takada Tawashi. They are a tawashi maker in Wakayama. And Wakayama used to be one of the hubs for shuro production, so windmill palm, since the early 1900s. But since then, it's been on the decline because of imported alternatives. And so this is what tawashis, this is how people think of tawashis, including the takadas, so a cleaning object. But when I first saw the tawashi, I saw it in the magazine Casa Brutus, and this was the photo I saw, and without the context of what it was and what size it was, I thought it was a very beautiful sculpture, or it could be a great shape and texture for furniture. And that is the beauty of design. Design can transform existing crafts into new experiences. So for example, a roofer can look at thatch and think, I can make roofs with that. But a designer and artist can make these a completely different experience. Or a knot maker can make a million small knots, but knots can also be used for luxury interiors. So what about the tawashi? What can we do with the humble tawashi? And that was the question and project proposal I sent to the Takadas, and they were very intrigued. So that began our relationship, but it wasn't. Craft is not transactional, so you can't just go and say I want to order some prototypes. You really have to build trust with the whole family, their extended collaborators, learn the craft, and then now we're finally beginning to start working on some prototypes together. And so here are some examples of prototypes we might work on, including, that's a mirror on the left side, a partition and wall art, and also some higher margin products that include lighting and vases. And so I'm sure some of you are thinking, this is a cute art project, but is this real business? But at the end of the day, both me and Takada are running businesses. And if you look at the market, the Japanese craft market is actually having a great comeback right now. A quote I really like is, "A global market hungry for authenticity is rediscovering Japan." And so in the next 10 years, the market is expected to grow 76.5%, which is huge. But in order for that to happen, in the context of labor shortage, we actually have to have some changes. So this is what Otelier is trying to do. We're trying to push artisans to work on higher margin products and to open up to new market opportunities. So instead of making a lot of cheaper products, make fewer products but have much higher margin for each of them. And then looking at market opportunities such as hotels, interior, and collaborations with fashion houses, and of course international markets. And the beauty of this model is that the craft maker can focus on what they're best at, which is delivering high quality craft and preserving their craft. And Otelier can focus on what we're good at, which is form, aesthetics, the experience, storytelling of the craft for a global audience. And of course, we're not just looking at Tawashi. We're trying to build a craft venture studio, a portfolio of modern craft products that can generate recurring revenue. And with each craft maker, we would invest our design and sales services and build a brand of modern crafts under Otelier without having inventory. So thank you for listening, and if you come by our booth later, we can show you our other collaboration with a 6th generation sensu maker. Thank you.